Please. This is the public art team. Our recently appointed interim arts and culture director, Crystal Jones, on the left. Kimberly Mireles, who was recently promoted to the public art manager position. Congratulations, Kimberly, right next to me. And our fabulous project management team formed by project managers, Bianca Alvarez on the left bottom corner and Jordan Patrias on the center. And our newest member, Alisa Franklin, who is our senior management analyst. And now we're ready to start, and I have the pleasure to introduce Public Art Manager, Kimberly Mireles. Thank you.
Thank you, Veronica. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jordan Patrias, and I just want to remind everyone tonight that the workshop is going to be recorded, and we will post this to our website, and we will send it out for your reference. Throughout tonight's presentation, you can send questions directly to the Department of Arts and Culture by clicking on the chat icon at the bottom of your screen. To submit questions, use the chat and make sure that you scroll down to everyone so that we can all see your question and respond. And we will be taking questions at the end of the presentation and application demo. We're going to first go through the presentation and then do a live tutorial of the application. So you can ask your questions at any time, but we will answer them at the end. So to give you an idea of what we're going to be looking at today, we're going to give you an overview of our public art program. We're going to talk about pre-qualification categories, artist development, application pointers, an application demo, and then the questions and contact information. So to give you all an idea, if you're not familiar with what public art is with the City of San Antonio, public art is going through a public engagement process to determine 3 things. And those 3 things are where the art will be placed, who the artist will be, and what the themes and inspiration are for the art. It's managed by a public art project manager such as myself. It's approved by our San Antonio Arts Commission and the Public Art Committee, and it's usually paid for with public funds. These funds come from the 1% of the transportation and capital improvement funds that are then used to implement public art projects according to our public art plan. And currently we're working on projects through the 2017-2022 bond program, but we want you all to keep an eye out on the 2022 bond when we will have a lot more upcoming projects. So now I would like to introduce Bianca Alvarez, another public art project manager.
Thank you, Jordan. So every public art project managed by our department goes through an extensive process that starts with community feedback and frequent check-ins with the community and stakeholders throughout the duration of the project. And all of this is part of our public art process. Approvals from our Public Art Committee and San Antonio Arts Commission help us get from one step to the next. And each project is celebrated with a dedication ceremony at the very end. Next slide. So this slide is an overview of qualifications we're seeking from artists and support services. So please note that this is not an all-inclusive list, but examples of various skills for public artists and support services. So for example, public artists can include 2D and 3D artists, studio artists, muralists, sculptors, designers. For support services, that encompasses a variety of opportunities that help in the delivery or completion of a project. So that can include project managers or coordinators, art handlers, curators, writers, conservators, fabricators, photographers. The list really goes on and on. Excuse me. We really want to encourage everyone to apply regardless of experience with public art, especially artists. We know there's other, there's other things that you bring to the table, whether it's an extensive exhibition history or you've been included in different collections. All of that is information that we need you to include on your application. So artists, organizations, and businesses are welcome to apply. And if you have qualifications for both areas of public art and support services, you can apply for both, which means that you would have to submit 2 separate applications by our deadline, which is November 16th, 2021 at 5 p.m. So please, we want to see what your practice and experience is and what you can uniquely offer to projects. So be sure to ask a friend or a colleague to review your application to make sure that you are really showcasing your talent to the best of your abilities in this application. Next slide. So what does it mean to be pre-qualified? For one, it means that you've successfully applied through the open call and have been pre-approved by the City of San Antonio to be considered for upcoming public art opportunities. Once you're on the list, you're eligible for 3 years for consideration for projects. After 3 years, you would have to reapply. And of course, being on the list doesn't necessarily guarantee that a contract would be provided or a project opportunity would be provided with the city. Next slide. As far as the process goes, the first thing you have to do, of course, is apply. So that's on artists, that's on support services, and we'll talk about timeline in a little bit as well. So once you've submitted your application and received a confirmation that you've completed it, so be sure to hit submit. Applications are then reviewed and scored by the Department of Arts and Culture, and then we present to the our recommendations to the Public Art Committee, followed by the San Antonio Arts Commission for review. City Council then must approve these recommendations for the pre-qualified list to be official. So once it's official and once it's obtained City Council approval, then the results will be delivered to the applicants through email on the results. Next slide. So for examples of public art and support services, we're looking at 2 images of those, and it's the same project. So on the left, we're looking at the public art project Naho Han, completed earlier this year at Comanche Lookout Park. And so we're looking at one aspect of it. It was a much larger installation where we worked with an artist team, Carlos Cortés and Dorotea Garza, for the design, fabrication, and installation of the artwork and much more that we do not see in the photo. And as an example of support services for the project, the photo on the right shows District 9 Councilman Courage, who was interviewed for the project's dedication video as the project was located in his district. So since we were not able to have in-person dedications due to COVID, social distancing restrictions, this gave us an opportunity to kind of think outside the box and how can we share widely and celebrate a project's completion. So we were able to work with support service photographers and cinematographers to document the project's progress. And the result was a video that featured interviews with artists, with community members and stakeholders to be shared widely in celebration of the project's completion. And next slide, I will kick it over to our Public Art Manager, Kimberly Mireles.
Thanks, Bianca, and welcome everybody. We're so glad that you joined us. I'm going to talk about a little more of the details in the application. Bianca gave you a great overview. The first of those kind of details is the artist experience section. So on the application, you will be asked to self-identify your experience level. This is both for artists and support services. On this slide, you can see the artist experience level self-identification. So these levels are to give an artist or project review panel, as well as the Arts Commission, an idea of your history and experience with public art projects. So if you have 0 to 2 years of studio experience or 1 to 5 relevant public art projects, or have worked with budgets of up to $10,000, we recommend you select Emerging as your public artist identification. If you have 3 to 10 years of studio experience or 5 to 10 public art projects under your belt, or have worked with projects with budgets between $10,000 and $100,000, then we recommend you select Mid-Career. If you have 10 years or more of studio experience or 10 or more public art projects, or have worked with budgets over $100,000, we recommend you select Established Artist. And if you're part of an artist team, we recommend that you identify as at the level of your most advanced member. Next slide. And as Bianca was saying, we really want to encourage emerging artists to apply. Don't think that you'll be less eligible or less likely to get projects. We work with many emerging artists. Some of you may recognize these artists here, Doroteo Garza at the top, as well as Kate Bradshaw and Ashley Morales at the bottom. But we work with many emerging artists who haven't worked on public art projects before, or who are moving from, let's say, being primarily a painter to doing a three-dimensional or sculptural piece. Part of our mission is to mentor young artists or inexperienced artists. And so we work with you guys throughout the whole process, and we do a lot of collaborative projects with more experienced engineers or designers. So again, this is just to say, if you think that maybe you're not a public artist, we still want you to be considered. We want you to apply because you have a unique voice and your own creativity, and we can work as a team to make a great project. So please apply. Next slide. And moving to support services experience level, it's a similar table. If you'll see, if you have 0 to 2 years of experience or 1 to 5 relevant public art projects, or have worked with budgets up to $10,000, we recommend you select Emerging as your support service identification level. If you have 3 to 10 years of experience or 5 to 10 public art projects, or have worked with budgets between $10,000 and $100,000, then we recommend you select Mid-Career. If you have 10 years or more of experience or 10 or more public art projects, or have worked with budgets over $100,000, we recommend you select Established. Again, if you're part of a team organization, we recommend you identify as the level of your most advanced member. So we really want to encourage people to apply, and especially you can see in this photo here, we work with a lot of support services with unique skill sets. Here's a fabricator and a rigger on a Bloom public art project. Next slide. Okay, so then we wanted to talk to you a little bit about kind of give you a heads up on insurance. You do not need to have insurance to apply or be approved to be on the pre-qualified list. The reason we wanted to show you these insurance requirements is should you be approved for a project as either an artist or support service, you may be required to get insurance at the levels you see on this graph. That's for workers' compensation, employer's liability, general liability, auto liability, and professional liability. Again, you do not need to have insurance to apply or be approved to be on the pre-qualified list or selected for a project. Should you be selected for a project, we work closely with our risk management office to ensure that the insurance requirements fit the scope of the project, as we do realize each project is unique and may not require all of this insurance. But when the time comes, we will walk you through it and be there with you every step of the way. Next slide. And again, just as a timeline, the submissions are due on November 16th, and we will have the San Antonio Arts Commission review on January 11th and present to City Council for approval on February 2022. Next slide. And I'm going to pass it over to Jordan, who's going to talk even more in depth about the application.
Thank you, Kimberly. Yes, so now we are going to share with you some application do's and tips to be successful in applying. So the first is apply if you've never been on the list or you have been told that your past application has expired. Do continuously update your San Antonio Artist Registry website and social media. San Antonio Artists, it is a requirement that you create a profile on the San Antonio Artist Registry, so do not forget to do that. Do use the video sample and application reference guide. Those are going to be linked in the PowerPoint, and then they will also be on our website. Do ask a trusted friend or colleague to review your application prior to submitting it. Consider all categories in which you would be eligible for. You can apply to be both an artist and support services in the same application, which is new this year. Do hit save throughout your application. You will notice that there is a lot of save buttons when we go through the tutorial, and it is our recommendation that you click save every time you see one of these buttons so that you don't accidentally lose your hard work. We know how hard it is. Do click submit by 5 p.m. on November 16th, and then do make sure that you receive a confirmation email message. Now it's time for the application don'ts. Do not reapply if you were approved in fiscal year 2020 or 2021. These applications last for 3 years, and there's not a need for you to apply before your 3 years are up. Do not reapply if your portfolio or resume have changed. We ask that instead you update your San Antonio Artist Registry link, website, and social media. Don't procrastinate, and remember that it does take 3 days for your artist registry profile to be processed. Don't leave that section blank. If you're not from San Antonio or you're a support service, you can put none, but it is a requirement for all San Antonio artists. Do contact Public Art Division staff, do contact Public Art staff if you have questions that are technical, but do not ask us to review your application or portfolio prior to the deadline. And do not assume that creating a profile is the same thing as submitting an application. When we go through the live tutorial here in a minute, you'll see that you have to create a profile, which is on a separate tab, and then go into the application. And then last but not least, do not contact department staff, City of San Antonio council members, the mayor, the city manager, other non-arts and culture staff to lobby for any city-funded public art projects during the application period or after the application period. So now we're going to move into the full application tutorial, and then I'll come back into the presentation to share with you the contact information and the we'll go into the questions as well. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for 1 minute. And okay. So the link that we have to apply is sanantonio.gosmart.org. And when you log in to this, or when you click into the website, you'll see this page, and you can click log in, and then you will see if you already have a profile, you will automatically go to the current programs and applications. If you do not have a profile, you'll be prompted to create one. And here is the edit profile page. So as I mentioned, the profile and applications are on 2 different tabs. So please don't think that just creating the profile means that you have successfully applied. So once you've created your profile, you can scroll all the way down to the bottom. As you can see here, there's a hyperlink showing that I have an application in progress. If you do not have an application in progress, you will see a start button instead, and that's where you click to begin. Here is a hyperlink with a tutorial PDF on how to apply, and then you can also see our email and phone number for help. So the first section of this application is contract history. So here are some important notes that you will need to read. The first is noting that you can ask for assistance on your application. The second is noting that it is the same application for both arts and support services. And then the third is noting that there's a restriction on communication. So this is again stating that you will not contact the city staff, the city council members, the mayor, the city manager, or other non-arts and culture staff that work for the city to lobby for projects that are city funded. So next question is for you to select if you are an artist, a support service, or both. So we'll click both for this. The following question is, have you ever been previously pre-qualified as a public artist or support service provider with the city? And you can click yes as an artist, yes as a support services, or yes as both an artist and support services, or no. The next question is, have you had a contract for public art or art support services in the past? If no, enter none. If yes, you can state the organization name, the services, the amount, the name of the project, the year, and your contact, and you can include the Department of Arts and Culture if you had a project with us. So I will write none. Next is, have you ever failed to complete any contract awarded? If no, enter none. If yes, state the name of the organization, the services, the year, the amount, and the reason for failure. I'm going to leave this section blank. Have you ever received a disciplinary action or pending disciplinary action from any regulatory body or professional organization? If no, enter none. If yes, state the name, the organization, the date, and the reason. So I will say none, and then I will click Save Work. And then you see that it saved the work and took me back to the beginning of the page. So you can toggle between the pages up here, or you can scroll back down and click Next. It's whatever you prefer. Now, the reason I left this blank is to show you, did I complete this page? You'll get the pop-up saying no, that you need to enter a value, and then you can come back and say none, and then save again. So if you click to decide to toggle between the pages up here, it will take you directly to the next section, which is experience. And so here is a note talking about the selection panel and how the projects and artists are selected following the pre-qualified list. So the next question is to describe your core business. So if you're an artist, here you will write your artist statement. And if you are a support services, here you will describe your business. If you are applying as both, you can write artist as a title and then your artist statement, and then you can write support services and then your statement following that. Just make sure that you have them labeled. So next is going to be what your art form is, and we have here the information of what all of the codes are. We created these codes for sorting fields which are limited within the program. So the first selection you'll see in the drop-down menu is 2D. That means two-dimensional, such as painting, photography, or drawing. 3D is three-dimensional, such as sculpture. 2D and 3D means that you do both. SSO means support services only. SS plus 2D is support services plus 2D. SS plus 3D is support services and 3D. And then SS plus 2D plus 3D is all of the above. So I will click this one. Next, you can go into the category of work. It's not comprehensive, but there is quite a long list that's alphabetized. You can click as many or as few as you want. And then here, be sure to save your work. Even though it takes you back to the beginning, it's much easier to scroll down than to have to re-answer questions. So if you did not see what your practice is or what your support services is, you can type here in the other. This is not a required question. So if you don't answer that, you can save your application. So next we move into the experience level. And Kimberly already described what each of these experiences mean, but we have the emerging, mid-career, and established. And then you can read about what those are on the side in case you forget. Next, we have a question which is describe your experience working with public art or commissioned projects. If you're a support service, you can talk about what you did to help support these projects, and then also include if you have any experience working collaboratively or in a team. Again, click Save Work, and you can describe your specialized training or resources here. And if you speak any languages other than English, please include them. And if you only speak English, please just write English. This is a required question. Next, we're going to go into the San Antonio Artist Registry. So if you are a local San Antonio artist, you need to provide your registry link. Here is where the San Antonio Registry is. So you can just click on your profile and then copy the link and put it in here. There is a link for you to register here, and it provides all of the information on what you need for the registry, and that includes your name, your contact information, your website, social media, an image, and then your category of artist, a bio, and then your portfolio. So I'm going to leave this question blank to show you for a specific reason at the end, but you do need to have this filled out. If you are not a San Antonio artist or you are a support service, you can write none. Here you can write in the link to your website, and if you have the San Antonio Artist Registry, you can write in the same link that you did above. And then you need to attach a resume. So I will upload a file here. So I'm going to upload this test PDF right here. You click Choose File, and then you upload file. And now you have your file. And you can see that you have it because there's a hyperlink for you to click on, and then it also has Replace or Remove File. You can list here your social media handles. And then the last question on this page, which is not a required question, is a place for you to upload anything else. So this could be a PDF of work samples, any certifications, or anything that you think that we need to see, you can upload here. So we're going to click Save Work, and now I'll show you what happens when you choose to go through the page the other way, which is clicking the Next button. So the next section that we have is Basic Information and Demographics. So here you will select if you're applying for an artist, a support service, or both. And next you will select where you're from. So there's San Antonio, and then the council districts 1 through 10. You can click on this link here and enter your address if you don't know what council district you live in. Then you can click Not in San Antonio, but Bexar County, Not in Bexar County, but Texas, United States, not Texas, out of the United States, or applicant is a nonprofit, so there's no owner residence. And then for a business, you can do the same thing. And if you are an artist and you don't have a business, you can select, I do not have a business address. I only have my home address. Finally, we have, how did you fill out this application? And you can select personal computer, borrowed computer, which is from a family or friend, shared computer, such as a library or computer lab, personal phone, borrowed phone, personal tablet, borrowed tablet, or shared tablet. Now we will move on to the demographic information, and this talks about how the City of San Antonio does not discriminate on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, national origin, political affiliation, sexual orientation, marital status, disability, age, military service, or other non-merit factors. There's also a selection for applicant is a nonprofit organization or other. So the first question is, what is the race and ethnicity in which you most identify? Next is select the gender in which you identify. There is a drop-down selection as, do you identify as LGBTQIA+, and there is a yes, a no, or applicant is a nonprofit organization. And then finally is, are you a member of the armed forces? Now for this one, it is a required question, and please note that if you are not a military member or not a veteran, that is the first selection. And the last selection is applicant is a nonprofit organization. So don't forget to select this one. So finally, we are in the last section, which is called the assurances. And so you must agree to the assurances to qualify. So the first section is with the City Ethics Code, Section 261, that says that during the application period, again, you will not seek out public funding for projects. So you can select that you understand or that you do not agree and that you disqualify yourself. The next one is that you agree to a non-discrimination policy that the city upholds, and you can select to agree or that you disqualify. And then you will select that you understand that getting a commission with the city means that you will have to work closely and respectfully with city departments, neighborhood groups, community organizations, and the public, and that there is collaboration amongst many different groups, and that you agree to this. And then finally, you are agreeing and attesting that all of the information that you stated above is true and correct. So if we go to the next section, which is submit, you can see that I am not able to submit anything right now because I left that San Antonio Artist Registry blank. So if you have more than one question, they will be listed such as this below, and you can click on the hyperlink directly to take you to the missing question page. So we're going to have to scroll down here. And so I will put none here. I will click save work. I will click back to submit. And then here, now that you have all of your questions answered, you click the final submission button and then click submit. Then it will say thank you for your application. So this is the final screen that you will get saying that your application did go through. And then you will be able to see a confirmation email to the email in which you applied. So that is the end of the tutorial. And so now I'm going to come back to the PowerPoint. And so here is the contact information. So the Public Art Division, you can reach us at our phone number, which is 210-206-2787. Our email is...
Sorry, we're still looking at the application screen.
Oh, Thank you. Can you see the PowerPoint now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so to reach the Public Art Division, our phone number is 210-206-2787. Our email is publicart.sanantonio@sanantonio.gov. The link to our pre-qualified list on our website is getcreativesanantonio.com/about-us/open-call, or you can click the open call banner. There are some technical assistance videos. There's a YouTube playlist on how to apply to Go Smart. And then we have a PDF with a help tutorial linked to our website. And then for the San Antonio Artist Registry, there's hyperlinks for you to create your profile and to watch a tutorial that shows you step by step. And if that still doesn't answer your question, you can email arts@sanantonio.gov. And just a reminder that this presentation recording will be made available to all of the registrants, and it will be posted on our website as well. And now we can move into the questions.
So our first question here is, do you need to be a nonprofit to be considered for a support service? What if you are a for-profit partnership photography business? And the answer to that is you do not need to be a nonprofit to be considered a support service. We work with a lot of vendors, a lot of for-profit businesses. So please go ahead and apply. Our next question is, how can we confirm if we are already on the pre-qualified list? So if you do not know if you are approved in fiscal year 2020 or 2021, then just send an email to publicart.sanantonio at sanantonio.gov, and we will happily check your status.
Additionally, whatever email that you applied with, if you were on the pre-qualified list, if that email is still current, you should have gotten an email if you were on the 2019 pre-qualified list saying that you did need to reapply because your application term was up. But if you were on the 2020 or 2021 list, you should have gotten an email saying that you do not need to reapply because you are still valid.
And the next question we see here is, does the artist need to have lived in San Antonio for a certain period before applying, let's say a year or more? There's no time constraint about living in San Antonio, so that the answer is no. We just need to see that, well, we want to see the San Antonio address, but you don't have to have lived here any certain amount of time.
And you do not have to live in San Antonio to apply. So there's, as Jordan went through the application, you saw it ask for your council district, but you can be international, national, Texas, county. It's open for everybody.
And it's just a requirement to have your San Antonio Artist Registry if you are a San Antonio artist, no matter how long you've lived in San Antonio. If you are identifying as a San Antonio artist, then you need to have that registry link. All right, so I think that we will give it another minute or two to see if there's any last minute questions, but I will, while people are typing in, make another announcement that additionally, in an effort to make this application process a little less daunting, we have a consultant available who can help you with your resume, your artist statement, answer any questions about the application, your portfolio, and your work samples, and guide you through filling out this application. There is availability to get help both virtually along with some limited in-person spots. So if you would like to take advantage of this help, please send us an email or call and indicate that you would like that kind of help, and we will be happy to work with you to get that set up.
And we have another question here that says, as far as updating social media, is there particular content the artist support services should upload? So that is, we ask for social media because some artists don't have websites. And the great thing about our new artist registry is that you're able to create a almost your own website and upload work samples and resume. And that's not just for us, anybody in San Antonio, anybody outside on the web can see that artist registry. So if you're more prone to post recent work samples or projects on your social media, that's great for us to look at. If you don't have a social media, that's fine too. We'll just look at your artist registry.
And just to echo off of what Kimberly said, if your social media is private and you don't want to share that, we completely understand. You will not be penalized for not sharing your social media. We just understand that in this day and age, some artists are more interested in sharing their work in that sort of platform than on a traditional website, and we want to be open to whatever each individual is most in favor of. All right, well, it's not looking like there are any other questions that are coming in, so we really just want to say thank you again so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing each and every one of your applications come through. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out, and we will be sure to provide this recording to all of the registrants and post it to our website. And thank you so much again. Have a wonderful evening.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.